it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, I am forgetting about this gorgeous product that I have sitting in my stash, and it's one of those products that we need to use or we lose, because I am talking about paste, modeling paste. It can be called lots of different things, but we need to make sure we use it up, because if you come back to it in a year or so, you may find that actually it has dried up, sadly. Not always. Some are better than others for sure, and there are lots of different types and varieties and businesses that create modeling paste or stenciling paste, or there's lots of different names for it. So we are going to use that today, and I want to show you some of the most gorgeous ways that we can go about using it. Now, I am using this wheat cement cardstock color here. This one is from Joggles. They actually come as these panels, and I am enjoying folding these in half basically, and this creates some gorgeous card bases. Now, they are 9 1/4 by 4 inches, and then I fold it in half, of course, so it ends up, you know, a bit of a random size, but I'm actually really enjoying it, and it's great to use the items that we have in our stash already. But basically, long story short, use any color but white or cream, I would say. You know, go out there, go a little different, try some grays, maybe some browns, maybe some navy blues, try something a little bit darker or a little bit more than just the whites, and this is going to absolutely let your paste shine. Now, you can absolutely just leave it as is. You're going to see some gorgeous results here. Now, I am going to add in a little border. I love the idea of, you know, sort of adding in a border without having to add a border. I am, of course, working directly onto my card bases here, so it is best to have a good weight of cardstock for these. Now, these panels are fantastic. They are meant for mixed media, which means they hold up to that little bit of wet media really well. And so this is going to be perfect. I would say you don't want to be using sort of 80-pound or less. Probably you would be in danger of a little bit of warping, but you know, that can be fixed as well. Now, I'm adding in some mint tape to create, as I said, my border, because I'm working directly onto my card base. If you're not comfortable doing that, or you're not sure how much warping you're going to get, or you want to use a cardstock that is, you know, you're not sure how it's going to go and you don't want to ruin your card base, then by all means, make a card front and then pop it on top of a card base. So, you know, and you can avoid that problem altogether. Now, these are called creative cuts. This one is called the Acanthus leaves, and this is a gorgeous design. For the one on the left, I'm using a Holtz stencil. This is the lace design stencil. I'm using some texture paste opaque matte. This is from Ranger. There are lots of good ones out there, honestly. I really like this one too, but as I said, lots of different companies do great texture paste or embossing pastes or modeling pastes, lots of different names for them. I pop mine onto an old hotel card or an old credit card or an old plastic card of some variety, and this is how I'm going to swipe this through my stencil. Now, these stencils are, I would say, relatively thin. I mean, not super thin, of course, but thinking about texture here, because we want to create gorgeous, simple cards, but doing that, I like to make sure I have a few elements, and some of those can be like adding a shiny element, something that sparkles, something that glitters, something that shines, you know, along those lines. Another thing we can do is by adding texture. Now, the stencils create good texture, but these creative cuts create great texture. I will say that these are a little bit thicker. Now, these are actually made out of, like, I would say, quite a heavyweight cardstock, like almost a thin chipboard, I would say, and it is meant for use later as well. So you can sort of use them as a stencil, but then actually use the actual design, and that can be used. So here, this one does have modeling paste in the middle, but let me show you what I do with these. So let's put these two designs to the side for just a moment. Peel off your stencils, make sure to wash them, because modeling paste, texture paste, all those things set like stone, and you will have trouble with your stencils if you don't wash it off. I'm using some spray stains. I only have a couple, but even just these couple, I think this is saltwater taffy and mustard seed, and you spray it directly onto the creative cuts, and this dries beautifully, and it literally looks like basically a die cut piece of cardstock ready to go. You can either cut these down, you can use portions of them, but this looks stunning. So I just spray them and then put them to the side. You can't even tell that there is modeling paste or anything on the top there. So by all means, mix everything up. Now here I'm going to peel off these edges just so that they don't sort of dry in place. And I would say leave these cards, I mean even just this, the white, stark white contrast on that wet cement card base is gorgeous to me. Those creative cuts leave a very crisp edge, as does the stencil here. I think it's just a technique that I forget about all the time, and it is so simple to create such an intricate textured background. It's awesome to be able to run your fingers over top of it and feel that texture. Now these are dry. You can either leave them for a short amount of time because especially the one on the right, it's very thin, but you can also use a heat gun. Don't go too close, otherwise you might get a little bit of bubbling. Now these are some markers. These are from DecoColor and they are oil-based opaque metallic paint markers. Now I have the gold, the rose gold and the silver. Now I would say honestly, I would happily leave these gorgeous panels as is. But we're going to do something to at least one of them to show you. I did want to show you with these markers, I like getting the thinner ones. I think these are the 2mm, but I do want to show you that they come, you have to prime them when they first arrive, and you can see they have this ankle tip so that you can do like a wider line and then also a skinnier line too. This is one that hasn't been started yet. Give it a good shake and then all you do is press down on the tip and that will help the paint flow down into the tip and you'll be away laughing. So you just press it in like this down on a flat surface and then in no time it will have the paint down ready to go and you are ready to draw. And these are gorgeous. I think there are more perhaps in the line. They also come in thicker versions, but these are just the ones that I have. And I will just say that these are metallic. They are shiny. I've used these in a couple of videos now and they are just a very shiny pen. And so all I'm doing, you could put the Creative Cuts stencil or the stencil, whatever you have done these with, put that back down and then use that as a guide here. But honestly, this texture stood up enough off the background that I wasn't even going to come near the background. So I am just going to color these in. Now, a little bit of these, I will admit, was a little bit damp. I could have and probably should have waited a little bit longer, but A, it didn't ruin my pens, which I was grateful for, and B, it didn't ruin the design, and it actually, you know, it looks pretty good. So I did all three of these pens just for something a little bit different. And as I said, it's adding that shine element as well as the texture element. You could do this with any paint pens that you have. I mean, see what works. Experiment with what you are able to write over top of that embossing paste with. But this is shiny. It's kind of hard to see a little bit, but very shiny. The gold and the silver in particular are very, very shiny. Then I'm going to come around the edge here and create just a little border. I didn't want to, I felt like it just needed, you know, something because it just felt like the edges weren't as crisp anymore now that I had colored them. So I'm going to go around with a ruler and just line them up. And this looks really lovely. So, so simple. And the one on the right, I'm actually going to keep that gorgeous stark white contrast there because I absolutely love the look of both of these. Then I have some of the sentiments from my free printable sentiments here. You go onto my website, natashafootecreative.com, and under the free resources tab, I have these a PDF, that you can download and print out these sentiments, cut them out yourselves, the circles, the squares. You can either fussy cut them out or you can use your own dies to see what you have fit and you'll be able to cut them out. Really cool, easy sentiments that you can grab for free, of course. Now I'm going to add a very simple happy birthday. As I said, I'm keeping these super simple because that shine is beautiful. It catches the eye when you move it around in the light. And these stand up beautifully. They're not warped at all from the wet media, so the card bases are gorgeous. This one here was just a teensy bit too simple, so I'm going to take, I have some of this sort of burlap ribbon, I guess you would call it. I'm going to put a little bit of double-sided tape on the back of my sentiment, and then I'm going to do like a little squiggle, a little sort of backwards S of my ribbon here. And this is just super, super simple, so you can see it sort of coming out each side. And then I will cut off the ends just to, so they don't come quite as far out, but that's a nice little squiggle. You can do this with normal ribbon, you can do it with raffia, you can do it with anything that you would like to kind of pop behind there, and it just adds a little extra decorative element. It works really nicely behind rectangles, circles, squares, all of those things, which helps. And then this is going to go in the center of this card. I am going to put a little bit of foam tape behind there, just the 1 millimeter, so it barely comes up, because remember, this stencil has less height to it than the other one, so I felt like I still had a little bit extra and it would still fit in the envelope just well. So I have put this one directly in the middle. As I said, 2 super simple cards, but reminds me just how beautiful texture paste can be. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video today. I hope that this is a reminder to get out your texture paste, your modeling paste, your embossing paste, any paste that you have. You may already have colored pastes, which are also going to look beautiful. So give them a go, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Thanks, bye.